We're back with another episode of the Madera Map. This episode, we're taking a look at Quext and how they work with properties to implement their technology. As a reminder, last episode we talked with the team from Madera at Left Bank, and this is what the map looked like. Today we'll dive into the first few steps of how Quext intertwines with Madera to create success every day. Let's get started. So how do all the teams work together?
I'm big on discovery questions. Let me find out what your pain is. Let me find out what your need is. Do you have experience with smart home technology? I'm always leaning towards IoT because that's where my head's at all the time. So in that scenario, what are your needs? What's most important to you? And then I can address those needs and what's important to them and cater the message, hopefully to bring it home. But that's just the beginning. We don't have one meeting and it closes a deal. There's a ton of follow-up. We have to, do a proposal on the back end where we put together however many units it is and pricing, and Kyle and the operations team may or may not have to go do a site survey so we can figure out how many gateways we need, to see what the logistics are on the property. So there's a lot of work that is done after we have our initial meeting.
Once the ownership decides that this is something that they want to move forward with, that's when it comes to our camp and into tech ops, and we are the first ones to kind of, once we meet the ownership and get that introduction into the property staff and really just walk alongside with them, training them on, introducing them to Ashley Settle and Victoria on our training team, and just kind of letting them help walk through the nitty-gritty details of what it is to be trained in the IoT portal specifically, or with Connect, introducing them and helping them with training when it comes to bulk Wi-Fi and how to utilize that software. But we're the person that almost kind of helps connect all the different dots, I think, as well. And so one thing that we intentionally try to do is make sure that CSMs are included in that process from the get-go. So whenever we have our community kickoff for really any project, we're already introducing the CSMs right there.
So as customer success, we are the first point of contact for any challenges or issues that people may be having. Sometimes we send that over to the training team where Victoria and Ashley and their team can say, all right, let's revisit this topic with this team and, once over again, how to manage this process within this product. Or maybe it's a technical issue that goes to the support team, and the support team opens up a ticket to start monitoring and tracking, and they either resolve it from tier 1, tier 2 support levels, or they'll at that point escalate it to the engineering teams and the tech ops teams to dig into it a little bit further and say, okay, what is it that we can find is the challenge here, and what needs to be fixed? Do we need to escalate that to the Click-It team, or do we need to just keep it with the engineering team and identify exactly what the issue is that needs to get fixed? So, we work with those teams on a daily basis, constant communication, and with training or support or with each other as CSMs. We've all got unique strengths and we use them. I reach out to my other CSMs, Eric and Nicole, frequently about some questions that I might be having. And did you experience this within your portfolio? And, what are some ways that you communicated that? Or what are some ways that you kind of dug into it and figured out what we needed to do to get it resolved?
Training is kind of just like a circle. Sales closes the deal. Tech ops gets it. Training comes in and onboards. Once they are fully deployed, tech ops lets go, customer success takes over, but training kind of stays in there because we do continual training. We do check-ins. If they have new employees start that need to be onboarded, the CSMs come back to training and set that up. So I feel like we are the loop between tech ops and CSMs, the customer success managers, to whatever their journey leads after that. So I feel like we're the link between those. We're always kind of around. You'll see emails from us, hey, new feature release, do you need training? What do you need help with? We send out MailChimps all the time. One of the cool things about the new migration over into Quex.io is we can have a pop-up saying, hey, do you need to schedule training for this module or this module? We'll have featured trainings for the month. We did a vacant unit automation feature training in September for all of our IoT properties to get ready to put their vacant units into a certain mode so they're not, they don't have to worry about freezing pipes. Or we'll have another one when spring hits so they don't worry about, being 65 degrees in that unit when it's 107 outside to help lower their vacant unit electricity bills. So we're always kind of around. I feel like we're the link between tech ops and the handoff to customer success. We will always kind of be there and help as needed.
All the installations across the country kind of come through me, not me as our department, right? And so I help schedule those, the training of our installers, and kind of just watching them, maintaining them, and scheduling and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the good thing about being so closely tied with the installation crews is that we get to firsthand knowledge a lot of bugs that we have in the field, right? And I don't want to say that we have a lot of bugs, but there are bugs, right? Because we're always evolving and always changing. And so the ability to have the boots on the ground that are using our technology to do massive installs, right? And complete them in a timely manner, they need stuff that works. And so they go through me to do that and report the stuff to me, and so we can get them resolved quickly, right? And so a lot of times we'll get bugs before our customers even notice that it's a thing, right? And so, and living in our software suite and stuff like that too helps me gain an aspect of how our properties use and manage the system. And so, and getting that feedback directly from, even people at Madera have been so kind and to give us, I don't want to say brutally honest, but they give us constructive criticism, a lot. Like this last week, we were doing domain and lofts at City Center in Houston. And Jamie Blevins and Elton both came to us and said, hey, look, I think we could do this, the installations better if we had, these key things, right? And so through that communication, that back and forth, and that honesty, we get to gain a lot of feature sets and ways to do our processes better. And so the cool thing is that we're always growing and evolving.
How do you overcome your challenges?
That sometimes it just depends on what the day brings, because we have some days where it's a lot of just kind of office work, and we're in behind the scenes sending out like resident communication orders, or we're like creating portals for properties and just prepping for different stuff, or prepping for a meeting that we might have the next day. But I think in general, what makes me, when I go home at the end of the day, feel like I had a productive day is really just all about those relationships. That's kind of harping back on that, but the relationships with the property and building those, and when they have a question or a concern, or they want to talk about something, or even just giving a presentation about IoT to get started with it, or connect to get started with the project, like connecting with our properties, I think, is what helps me feel like I've had a productive day. And if I'm able to answer their questions and just kind of be somebody who is able to take some stress off their plate, I think that's something that we also do as project coordinators, is that a lot of times this property, it might be the first time that the property is hearing about this, or they have a lot of questions, they have a lot of concerns, like, what is this that's coming? I don't understand. And of course, change is hard no matter if it's good or bad. And so the change that we're bringing is hopefully, one that's good, that they're gonna see that, like I said, our technologies hopefully to make their lives a little bit easier and help them with that. And so being able to be that person who's there for them, to walk them through this process and just to kind of give them some comfort and peace is how I feel most productive in this position.
I was a part of the great NewCo rollout in 2019. The functionality wasn't great, and there was a lot of workarounds. Grant and Sean did an amazing job, jumping on calls and helping us, but I think the support could have been better. So knowing what I know about that rollout has really prepared us for what's coming, and what I wish I would have had as an on-site, property manager to support not only my community, but my staff and be the person they could go to. So I really try to be that for our on-site staff. I have staff, property managers messaging me, asking me, hey, real quick, can you walk me through this? Of course. Or I send them the Stonely Guide, or Victoria has made some amazing training material that I can just, download in a PDF form and shoot over. So I try to be very supportive of our on-site staff because I understand what they're going through.
My colleague Nicole, when she first started in the team, she did a mass property visit where she was going and just working with the properties on site and saying, okay, tell me what your challenges are. Tell us what's great and tell us what we can help you with a little bit more. That type of feedback is so amazing to have because it tells us from a customer success standpoint where we can work on things. And we absolutely thrive on people that'll call us and say, oh my gosh, I just had this terrible conversation. This is what it's about. And while it's not fun to hear that type of stuff, we build on that. We use that to build on our processes in the back end of things. And we get good feedback too. The positive feedback that we get from property managers and residents about things is absolutely incredible to see and to hear. It just makes it all that much more worth it. And with the teams that we're working with, the people that we have on our side every single day are working tirelessly to have that type of outcome. So as much as we can encourage people to give us feedback, we thrive on that because that's ultimately what we can use to help make people's products more successful.
Yeah, we work closely with CSM. Tessa's team is critical to our job and our success with our clients. I'm a firm believer that they are a integral part of the moment we step on foot on property with a new client. We did the installation for Carter Haston out in Charlotte, and the team that took that on as to set them up was from the beginning going to make that program successful. From the moment that our team took over and did training and set them up with key fobs, and by the time I got on site with Eric, who is the CSM for that account, man, they were set up for success. And the property manager knew what she was doing. The residents had an incredible experience. And it all stems back from when the moment that our support team started getting engaged with them. Once I signed the contract or got the contract signed, the ops team and the training team, they all took it over. And, those guys are critical to any successes we have being on site.
The thing that I want is for everybody to be like, okay, cool. A, comfortable with our stuff, and B, feel accomplished, right? Like, this is cool. And the fun part about it is, like, Skylar came into my office the other day. We were talking about something, and I showed her how to use it on the website. And then she came to me and was like, hey, what if we did it this way? And I was like, it's the old ham deal. How do you cook a ham, right? And the lady goes and she was cutting the ham. She cut the ends off of it and put it in the pan, right? And her son asked her, Mom, why do you cut the ends off the ham? I don't know, my grandma did it. So the kid goes and talks to his grandma, and he says, Grandma, why do you cut the ends off the ham before you cook it? And she says, I don't know, my grandma did it, right? So finally he goes to his great grandma and she says, oh, the only reason I cut them off is because I didn't have a pan big enough, right? And so it's one of those things, the way I'm doing it is not the way it always should be done. And I love the back and forth that we have in Quext, where it's like, oh yeah, I was doing that because this is the way we did it before or something, right, in your previous experience. And then the new life and the new blood that comes in, it gets to, rejuvenate you and change the way you think too. And so for me, that's a fun piece, to be able to go, okay, there is different ways to do things, right? But if you look back on it and retrospectively and look at things that you do and you go, okay, cool, I did have an impact on that, whether it's the property or just a person individually, those things are very rewarding in my book, right? So money is one thing, but people are the whole other thing. If the financial system crashes, guess who's still going to be here? People, right? Like, they may have no money, but they'll be here, right? So you better learn how to interact with them.
What does taking care of people mean to you?
You know, the people on the other end of the desk, the decision makers, the Dave Gillis's, those guys get hit up 150 times a day by people that are just hounding them for a sell. They can see through the BS, right? They can see through the disingenuous, I'm only in it for the sell, I'm going to sign this contract and I'm moving on to my next deal. And that will get you somewhere for a short period of time. But I guarantee you the person that signed that contract is going to remember the way you handled that. And I've been told by, you know, people in this industry that they'll never do business with certain people because they wouldn't sign the contract when they wanted them to sign the contract. And that left a mark on me. I was like, I'm never going to be that guy. I never want to be accused of being the typical sales guy. You know, I will walk away from a sale if it's, you know, you're not ready for it, then I'm not pressuring you. You know, I'm not going to beg you for a contract. If it's not time for you, it's not time for you, but I'll be here when you need me. And in the meantime, how's your family? How's your life? You know, they need to know that you care about them, whether you're doing business with them or not. And I've gained more business that way by being that patient guy going, man, I'm just going to be here as a friend and as a business referral and a business reference. And, you know, it's really cool to have that experience in this industry, you know?
So I always say, Quext and what we do is we want to answer the if, right? If I had this technology, would it be better, right? If we had this feature, right? And if we can, what if, you know, all those kind of ifs, right? And so I write if on the board, and then if we can answer those if questions in a positive way for the resident, right? That makes a positive experience for the leasing staff, right? And then we start answering if questions in a positive way for the leasing staff, right? Well, that makes a positive experience for them. So they can leave, right? And then if they have a positive experience, we're gonna have a positive experience as Quext and when we come to work. So I always say write if on there, right? And then if we answer more if statements with positive things, positive features, positive feedback, positive processes, you know, then we create a better life, right? And so I write life across the deal. So it's a positive impact on their life, right? So residents come home to their home, right? And it's a positive, right? It's not something that, oh, I have to deal with this silly lock or whatever, right? Resident or leasing staff go home and they're like, my day was better because we alleviated all these barriers, you know, for their life, right? So they go home happier, right? So their life is better overall, right? And it may be 2 ticks, right? But it's better, right? So, and then, you know, as Quext, we get to know that we're helping people in their life, right? And make their life better, right? So it's, for me, it's a life question, right? As far as it is, as much as it is, you know, a feature question or a software suite.
That's probably one of the coolest things about a job like this is, I mean, sure, we are working with, we're working with the property staff and the ownership groups and stuff like that. But the end effect is that we are working with people, and we're working with people not only in the sense of a business, but we're working with people's homes. And that is like the one place where you expect to kind of, you know, feel safe and feel that security. And so that's cool to me that we have that responsibility, you know, just to continue to make their home a place that they want to be, a place that they feel safe. So that's cool to me. That's and I think that comes from like my mom. Growing up, she was a nurse, and so she gets to take care of people. And growing up, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I liked people. I liked talking to people, doing that sort of thing. So still being able to be in a space where I can improve people's lives is awesome. There's no other real way to put it.
Everybody has a story. I think that understanding that we're all coming from different walks of life and we're all coming from different understandings. Some people are very technology forward. Some people are very not technology forward, and that's okay. We all have different strengths in this world, and that's what makes it go around. And as long as we can work together to use each other for the support that we need or the training that needs to happen, then let's do it. it's so fun when you've got that good camaraderie next to you, and you can trust that the people that you're working with are going to be there, and it's going to be with an open mind and an understanding that everybody's coming from a different walk of life, and let's be understanding that that's all just what makes us who we are. And so let's embrace that and move forward together.
A lot of times in this, you may not be able to solve every issue or problem that you came across during the day. For myself, I like to feel that I've grown in some different way, shape, or form, whatever that is, whether that was, hey, today I had a call with a property and I answered this question better than I had in the past, or today we were working on, whatever it is, and we were able to refine our process better, or we caught a mistake that we typically make and it didn't end up being a costly mistake. So getting to feel like that makes me feel good, because it's like I'm leveling myself up. But then even just from like a team aspect, like, hey, you know what, in September we closed a ton of units, and that's cool. Like, we didn't, whenever I first got here, it was like, well, man, I hope we can get this project done in 2 months. But I mean, like, I keep referring back to September, we had like 5 or 6 properties that we closed out IoT installs, and like, that was awesome. Like, that was just cool to see. Like, we started out way over here, and now we are, the expectation is a little bit higher. And so that's just growth, I think, as a whole, is where I feel, like, yeah, that was a good day. The things that we have been doing in the way that we've been growing as a team, as individuals, like, it's pretty cool, especially just for, a younger career as myself. Like, I wouldn't have ever imagined like what this part of my life would look like. Like, that's been cool, especially recently, just to kind of take a step back and be like, it's a good spot. This is cool stuff that we're doing.
We're still young and growing, and it's just fun. It's fun to have the tough conversations with people in the office, but it's also fun to get on the same, and you're like, cool, we're jamming along together. You know what I mean? It's like, what's that? Wayne's World, when they're all jamming, they're like, like you feel like you could pull yourself out and look back at it, and you're like, Quex is the car, and everybody in there is like, just rocking to the to the music. So that's what if I could look back at a day and say, yeah, everybody was jamming. We had the radio to 11. Why do you put it to 11? You ask? Because it's rock and roll, baby. Yeah. So, anyways, I guess that's my. If I can look back on a day and say, yes, everybody looked like the car scene from Wayne's World, then I'll know I have a good day.
Caden and Kyle summed it up pretty well. If you can improve yourself every day, even in small ways, down the road you'll see huge growth, and you'll be able to jam with the best of them. Let's take a look at the map again. You'll find that pretty much every person, every role in this episode has an impact on property, both residents and staff. Remember, the series is not about who you report to, it's who you affect. There's so much more to explore for both Madera Residential and Quext, but there are still more players to introduce. Next episode, we're going to take it over to Rockwood to see how they fit into all this. Until next time, thanks for watching.